Today, we are going back to one of the most watched shows in television history, Everybody Loves Raymond. The show started in 1996 and reached a massive audience of 32 million viewers in 2005, which means it first came out exactly 30 years ago. But what you really want to know is where the amazing cast members are today and what they look like now. Some of these actors passed away at a young age, and some ended up in very difficult situations. So hit the subscribe and like button right now, because what you are about to find out about this cast is going to completely surprise you. Number 1. Ray Romano, Raymond Ray Barron. Alright, let us begin with the very first person, the man, the legend, the guy whose name is right there in the title of the show, Ray Romano. When Everybody Loves Raymond first came on television in 1996, Ray was 29 years old. The character Ray Barron was smart and felt almost too close to real life. He was a sports writer living on Long Island in a good marriage with Deborah, the father of 3 children, and mostly trying to survive the everyday madness happening all around him. His parents, Marie and Frank, lived right across the street. His brother, Robert, was always hanging around. And Ray just wanted to eat his food, watch his game, and stay away from any kind of trouble. Does that sound like anyone you know? Because I honestly believe every single one of us has been Ray Barron at some point in our lives. I say this with full sincerity because even I have been in that exact same position at least 1,000 times myself. What is truly amazing is that Ray did not just act in the show. He wrote every single one of all 210 episodes and eventually became executive producer as well. In 2002, he won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series, and the show itself collected a total of 15 Emmy Awards. Those are truly legendary numbers. But the real story is that when the show finished in 2005, many people wondered whether Ray could step outside that sitcom image. And for a little while, that question seemed reasonable. But then something happened that shut everyone up. Ray started saying yes to projects that nobody saw coming. He took on serious film roles and became a genuinely great actor. In 2017, he had a strong role in The Big Sick, which critics absolutely loved. In 2019, he appeared in Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, alongside Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci, and he held his ground in every single scene. He also wrote, co-wrote, directed, and starred in Somewhere in Queens in 2022, which was a deeply personal project that truly came from his heart. And he is still voicing Manny the Mammoth in the Ice Age movies, with a brand new sequel coming in 2027. Now 68 years old, Ray Romano continues to be one of the most respected comedy voices in all of Hollywood. He has been married to his wife Anna since 1987, and together they have 4 children. By every account, it is a genuinely happy and grounded life. Do not even think about saying he has gotten old because he still looks absolutely wonderful. Not bad at all for a guy who got his big break in just 5 minutes on a late-night television show. Friends, do not go anywhere because things are just getting started. And what you are about to see next will truly leave you speechless. Number 2, Brad Garrett, Robert Barron. Alright, we really need to talk about Brad Garrett because this man is literally a giant. Standing at exactly 6 feet 8 inches tall, Brad was 36 years old when the show began, and he played Raymond's older brother, Robert Barron. Robert was a New York City police officer who lived with his parents and spent most of his time on screen completely convinced that the whole universe was working against him, which in Robert's case was honestly kind of true. On paper, Robert looks like a man living in his younger brother's shadow, struggling in relationships, still staying with his parents even as a fully grown adult, an unhappy big brother with a rough life. But because Brad Garrett brought such extraordinary comedic talent and real emotional depth to the role, Robert became a character you simply had to watch every single week. And did you know this? The character of Robert Barron was directly based on Ray Romano's real-life brother, Richard Romano, a sergeant and detective with the New York Police Department. So the brother relationship you watched on screen came from a very real and deeply personal place. Brad won 3 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series during the show's run. That is not luck, that is pure dominance. He was nominated several more times, and honestly, he probably deserved to win every single year he was on that show. He is a true sitcom legend. Just picture this. You have just broken up with your girlfriend. You are sitting at home alone and crying. You turn on the television out of desperation, and there is Robert Barron doing his strange and hilarious moves. And without even noticing it, a small smile slowly appears on your face. That is real magic right there. What most people probably do not know is that before Raymond, Brad was already deep into his own exciting career journey. He was a stand-up comedian who was one of the very first people to win the comedy category on Star Search back in 1984, taking home the $100,000 prize. That win got him onto The Tonight Show, and he was already a powerful name in the comedy world long before the show ever began. After Raymond ended, Brad kept working without stopping. He created his own sitcom called Till Death. He did voice work, and this part might genuinely surprise you. He appeared in projects connected to Pixar, voicing characters in Finding Nemo and Ratatouille. And in 2025, he voiced Lord Grygon in Pixar's Elio. The man never stops working. His personal life had some rough moments. He divorced his first wife, Jill Diven, in 2007 and then married Isabel Quella in 2021. By all accounts, he looks truly happy these days. Now 65 years old, Brad Garrett is one of those rare performers where the moment he walks into any room, you just know things are about to get a whole lot funnier. Friends, before we move on, I really need your help. It would mean everything to me if you subscribe to my channel and like this video. Number 3. Patricia Heaton, Deborah Barron. Okay, next up, and I truly cannot say enough about how undervalued this woman was on that show, is Patricia Heaton as Deborah Barron. Patricia was 38 years old when she stepped into the role of Ray Barron's wife, Deborah Barron, in Everybody Loves Raymond. Deborah was intelligent, she was funny, she was always overwhelmed by Ray's nonsense, Marie's quietly mean interference, and the completely boundary-free chaos of the entire Barron family. And she handled every bit of it with what I can only describe as absolutely precise comedic timing. But especially the ongoing battle between Marie and Deborah was the true emotional heart of the entire show. The character of Marie, brought to life by Doris Roberts, had this incredible ability to hide deeply hurtful sentences behind the sweetest smile, which is perhaps exactly why we could watch that unforgettable daughter-in-law and mother-in-law clash with such pure enjoyment every single week. Patricia won 2 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series during the show's run, 2 wins while facing some very tough competition in those years. But here's where Patricia's story becomes truly impressive. When Raymond ended in 2005, she did not slow down for even a single moment. Just 4 years later, in 2009, she moved straight into another major television series, ABC's The Middle, where she played Frankie Heck for 9 full seasons until 2018. Think about that for a moment. Back-to-back 9-season comedy series. That is almost unheard of in this business. She also earned a Daytime Emmy Award with her food and travel show Patricia Heaton Parties. More recently, Patricia has moved toward faith-based projects, like The Unbreakable Boy and The Ritual in 2025. She received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2012, which honestly feels like the very least she deserved for everything she has given to this industry. Now 67 years old, Patricia Heaton is married to David Hunt, and together they have 4 sons. She remains one of the most deeply loved figures in American sitcom history. She has also been quite open over the years about her personal faith and values, which has made her a sometimes controversial but always fascinating public figure. Friends, please pause for just a moment because we are about to talk about one of the greatest television performers who ever walked this earth. Number 4. Doris Roberts, Marie Barron. When Everybody Loves Raymond began in 1996, Doris was already 66 years old. Just think about that for a second. 66 years old, and she was about to begin the biggest and most glorious chapter of what was already an incredible career. Doris Roberts played Marie Barron, the fully interfering and deeply loving mother of the Barron family on this show. Doris brought the character of Marie to life so brilliantly that even confident young actors were left completely in awe watching her work. She was warm, she was frightening in the best way. Marie could walk into a room, give Deborah a single long look, and completely destroy a grown woman's confidence. And somehow you were laughing the whole time. The casting story behind the role of Marie is actually a fascinating piece of television history. The producers looked at more than 100 actresses for that role, more than 100 women. Then Doris arrived with absolutely no preparation at all. She was busy directing a 2-3 character play at the time, and her manager basically had to drag her to the audition. She got the role, and I say this with complete sincerity, she was absolutely perfect in it. Doris won 4 Emmy Awards during the show's run, 4, and she was nominated 7 times total. She is widely considered one of the greatest supporting comedy performances in the entire history of American television, and I do not think that is even slightly an exaggeration. What you might not know is that Doris had already won an Emmy before Raymond for her work on Street Elsewhere back in 1983. She had been working steadily in Hollywood since the early 1950s. When this woman walked onto a set, she brought decades of deep experience with her, and it showed clearly in every single take. After the show ended in 2005, Doris kept right on working. She appeared as a guest on television shows and took film roles. She stayed active well into her 80s. She was deeply loved by absolutely everyone who had the privilege of working with her. And then in April 2016, we lost her. Doris Roberts passed away at the age of 90. She lived a full and extraordinary life and left behind a collection of work that will last for as long as television itself exists. When you think of Marie Barron, that perfectly built character who was so frustrating and yet so lovable all at once, remember that behind each one of those performances was a master artist who was 66 years old when she first started. Rest in peace, Doris. We truly miss you. Number 5. Peter Boyle, Frank Barron. If Marie was a velvet glove, Frank was an iron fist wrapped in a bathrobe. Peter Boyle brought Frank Barron to life, the incredibly grumpy head of the Barron family in Everybody Loves Raymond. At the age of 53, Frank was a retired accountant and Korean War veteran. Sarcastic, messy, and tough as nails. But underneath all of that rough exterior, there was a deep and complicated love for his wife and his sons. What made Frank and Marie so unforgettable was the push and pull balance between the two of them. They would criticize each other, walk all over each other, and yet somehow always find a strange and beautiful harmony together. Peter Boyle was already a legend long before the sitcom ever began. He appeared in Young Frankenstein, Taxi Driver, and While You Were Sleeping. In 1996, he won an Emmy for his guest performance on The X-Files. He also received 7 Emmy nominations for his role as Frank. On the day of his audition, simply showing up in a genuinely grumpy mood was actually what got him the part. The producers looked at him and said, "That is Frank." After Raymond, Peter only appeared in a small number of projects before his health started to get worse. After a long and difficult battle with heart disease and multiple myeloma, he passed away in December 2006 at the age of 71, just a year and a half after the show's final episode. His death hit the entire cast and crew very deeply. He was survived by his wife Lorraine, whom he had married in 1977, and their 2 daughters, Lucy and Amy. Number 6. Madeline Sweetin, Allie Barron. Madeline Sweetin was just 5 years old when she started playing Allie Barron, the daughter of Ray and Deborah on the show. For Madeline, this was not just acting. It was her family for 9 years on screen. And in a very real way, it was her actual family too. Watching Madeline grow up on that show was something truly special to see. She started as a small little girl and finished the series as a young woman, and you could literally watch her comedic talent building and developing in real time right in front of you. Allie Barron was not always the center of episodes, but whenever Madeline had something to do, she always did it really well. She even did voice work for Toy Story 2 as a young actress, and later had guest roles on Grey's Anatomy and Lucifer. And then, and this still genuinely surprises people, Madeline completely walked away from acting altogether. She became a furniture designer and works at a company in Los Angeles called the Joneses LA. A totally different creative world from the one she grew up in, and by every account, she has found real happiness and deep fulfillment there. But I have to talk about the tragedy in this family's story, because it is important and it is heartbreaking. In April 2015, Madeline's twin brother, Sawyer Sweetin, died by suicide at the age of just 19 while visiting family in Texas. The entire cast and crew of The Raymond Show were completely and deeply devastated. Madeline released a statement describing Sawyer as more than just a brother, saying he was her best friend. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You do not have to face this alone. Sullivan Sweetin, who played Michael Barron, also largely stepped away from the public eye. Both he and Madeline chose to live their lives far outside of Hollywood, and I believe every single one of us can completely respect and understand that choice. Madeline Sweetin is now in her early 30s, living life entirely on her own terms. And after everything her family has gone through, I sincerely and genuinely hope that she has found real peace and lasting happiness.